Hey guys, it's Sierra. I'm the creator of She Is E Magazine, and welcome to She Talk. Just wanted to let you guys know my special guest is going to be Sanetta Guyton, aka Ms.Hopeful Romantic. So I'm glad to have her on tonight. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I see that she has joined, so we're going to get her in here so we can move forward. So I hope you guys are having a great night. Once again, happy Martin Luther King. And thank you for taking out the time to jump in on this live on tonight. I really do hope that, you guys enjoy it. I've enjoyed learning a little bit more about Sanetta myself. So happy to have her tonight. Welcome.
Well, welcome. Can you see me?
Yes, ma'am. I can see you. Are you able to hear me fine?
Yes,
Okay,
I can.
perfect. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you on tonight. Thank you for taking out the time. I know it's a holiday, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So for the ones that do not know you, can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, my name is Sanetta Guyton, also known as Ms.Hopeful Romantic. I'm from Miami, Florida. I'm born and raised in Miami Gardens, Florida. And I'm the author of the Diary of the Hopeful Romantic. Diary of a Hopeful Romantic. I'm nervous.
Okay, it's okay, girl. We got it. Thank you, though. So I want to ask you because I hear this queen name that you have, right? When I was reading your bio, I was like, oh, okay, I like this. But how did you even get this queen name that you have as Miss Hopeful Romantic?
Oh, okay. Well, everyone says hopeless romantic. Everyone, hopeful. I don't like hopeless. Hopeless sounds like, it's never going to happen, or it sounds like you're desperate, or it sounds, I don't like the term. It sounds negative to me. So I developed the brand and the term hopeful romantic. I felt like that describes me better. I'm realistic. I know things gonna happen in life. I know relationships are not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Hopeless sounds more fairy tale. Mm-hmm. Hopeful sounds realistic. And that's basically who I am. I've always been into love, relationships. Even if I'm venting or if I'm talking about it in a positive light or a negative light, I've just always been into it. So that's how I came up with hopeful romantic instead of hopeless.
Awesome. Yeah, because that's something that you hear. Like you always hear the hopeless romantic. I think there's even like a movie with that.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, I think
I
so.
remember that like years ago, but you always think about it and you hear it. So then to hear the opposite, I was like, this is so catchy. It's so dope because people don't think about it. Like you should have hope when it comes to love and relationships and everything else, right? So shifting out of that as far as giving hope to these people that might have been through certain things and certain relationships, how were you able to actually pull the strength to create your diary and things like that?
Okay, well, it dates back to my family, my upbringing.
Okay.
My family is very open, honest, and all my siblings and myself, we became the same way. Okay. So on Facebook and social media, and even with friends and family, I don't mind, in the words of Kevin Hart, letting you laugh at my pain. I don't mind sharing. I don't mind talking about what I've been through. I own my truth about, everything. So that's how I lost my train of thought. you was asking about how I came into
been able to give this out to other people.
Oh yes, so I just naturally been that way all my life, and it's when I got on Facebook, I was the same way. I'm open, I'm authentic. I don't mind laughing and joking, making fun of myself. If I fall on the street, I'll talk about that. So that's how it all came to be. And since I was already doing it on Facebook, I was encouraged to start a podcast or write a book. And initially, I was told I should write a book maybe about 10 years ago. And I just felt like I wasn't ready. I felt like maybe this story has been told before. So I kept pushing away until I kept getting confirmations over and over that, you have a story to tell, and maybe you should write a book about your life and help, people who are going through what you're going through, to let them know that they're not alone. You've gone through those things, and you can relate to what they have gone through as well.
Right, right. So how, like, for most people, being that transparent is so hard to do, right? I know that you're
Mm-hmm.
getting, this inklings like you should do it, you should share your story, you should, do this, do that. But, you know, how does it feel unmasking and becoming transparent and sharing your failures, sharing your successes? Because people, like, in the day that we live in a plastic world, right? People always want to see only the good. Like, it's hard to see, the bad side as well. So how did that feel when you decided, I'm going to unmask, I'm just going to be me and unapologetic, me, flaws and all? How did you get to that point?
That part was the easy part. Like I said, I come from a family where open, if you I say to people in a joking way, if you talk to me long enough, I'll tell you my life story. Like, I don't care, like, what people think of me. I know who I am. I respect myself. I love myself. So it's like, okay, if you don't like me, okay, someone else will.
Right.
So that part was easy. Like I said,
Wow.
it came from my upbringing, my family. We don't have many skeletons. Like, we own whatever issues have happened. Like, if you I'll talk to my mom, she'll tell you some of the things that's happened in her marriage, and you talk to my sister, she'll tell you some of the things that happened in her past. So we just were naturally like that. So that part came easy to me.
Wow.
I was afraid of the negativity. I'm not gonna lie. I did think, okay, I'm gonna get backlash. But then at the end of the day, I was like, whatever, you gotta take the good with the bad. So
That's right. I love that, your parents raised you in that type of environment, and to just be like, you are who you are, flaws, whatever, because there's a lot of people that wasn't raised like that, and they were raised like, I'm not going to say friends, but I've came into contact with people that are like, I can never do that because I had to be perfect. I had to be this. I couldn't really show my flaws. My family didn't like flaws, even if we had them. They didn't like us to express that. So for you to hear it was the complete opposite for you, that's awesome. And I really believe people need to make sure they doing it when they raising their children, teach them, okay, you have flaws. So what? We all have flaws. It doesn't make you less of a person. It actually makes you human.
right. It does.
Yeah, it makes you human. And I love to hear that you was like, I was raised like this. Because like I said, it's not something that you hear a lot.
It's not. So, like, my dad, I can remember when I was younger, he was just like, I learned the word candid very early in my age, in my youth. And he was like, if you need to be just candid with me, just say, hey, I need to talk to you, Dad. I want to be candid with you, and not as a dad, but just as a human, So I had that open dialogue with my mom and my dad. So I was raised that way.
Awesome. So tell me more about, you actually giving this type of relationship advice, because next month is what people consider the month of love. So what type of advice would you give somebody that maybe, they've had these bad relationships and they might be afraid to get back into another relationship? They got some trust issues. What would you say to that person that might be considering getting back to the field?
Okay. I had a friend. She stopped dating for like 4 or 5 years, and I had to keep encouraging her, no sex, no dating, no nothing. Like, she was like, So I tell people like her, you have to get back out there. I tell them the same things I tell myself. That person, the next person is not that person, especially if you do healing, self-reflection, if you do the work on yourself. You come in with a better mind state or whatever, and you build these things within yourself to know that better is coming, and that's what I just tell people, like, that, the next person is not that person. You have to give people a chance.
That's right.
You have to also do some self-reflection. That's the biggest lesson I learned in my relationships is like, okay, what did you learn from that relationship?
Mm-hmm.
How did you participate or how do you contribute to any of it? We always point the finger at the opposite sex. But sometimes you have to do some self-reflection, like, okay, did I see red flags and I just ignored them and then I want to blame him when it ends? So you do a self-reflection, you do healing, you pray about it, and you make sure you come into the situation not so guarded. You come in positive and you treat people, you give them a clean slate. Don't come in with that negativity and thinking that they're going to treat you the same way the last person treats you. But at the same time, you do got to protect yourself and make sure, you vet them, make sure you get to know them, make sure they're spending that quality time with you to get to know you. I believe the best relationships are relationships that are built on friendship, or you have this great bond and it's not lustful all the time. So you have to just give people a chance.
That's right. That's right. I hear it so much, like, oh, I've been hurt, I'm afraid. But at the end of the day, we've all been hurt. It might have been in a different magnitude. We got hurt at school,
Yes. Women get hurt all the time and they just keep trucking. Men, they get hurt at 16, it's over. That's it.
Women become more forgiving, it seems like, because not trying to bash y'all fellows if you're on here, but when y'all get hurt, it is the end of the world. It's
this thing for them to come back from.
Okay. It's hard to bounce back. And even when you think that they've gotten over it and something happens, they do bring that up. Like, we're like, that's the only event that you can bring up about me,
Yeah.
They're not as forgiving. However, women, we are more forgiving. It might take us time, but we are more forgiving. I've seen it for years.
Yeah.
I definitely have seen that. So tell me, what is your definition of self-love?
Self-love is accepting who you are totally, flaws and all. And one thing I always keep reciting to myself, respect is just a minimum. Like Lauryn Hill, respect.
Okay.
You can't expect people to respect you if you don't respect yourself.
That's right.
So self-love is, loving on yourself, keeping your peace, keeping your happiness, setting boundaries,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just accepting all your flaws.
Great. Awesome. I love it. I think, people,
all your attributes and all your good things too, but appreciate all of it,
And not just a piece. Because I found listening to people, that's the thing, like, they only want to talk about the good, right? They don't want to talk about, and even like, I would say it would be hard for me to say I failed or I did something wrong or whatever. I'm getting better, but over the years I've heard it like, Sierra, you just hate to say that you were wrong. And I don't know why, but I have been like that.
I'm opposite. And I have people that's encouraging me. I'm like, oh, I failed. They're like, this is a learning lesson. You learn. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, and it's probably because I'm very spoiled. So that's probably what it is. Like, it just, I know I might be wrong, but it would take me a while to be like, yeah, I was wrong. And like I said, the older I'm getting, the better I'm getting. But it's hard for us to admit that, and say I was wrong. You're not perfect.
That's why I say in the book multiple times, self-reflection and just adhering to those red flags and all that thing, because we quick to just say, oh, men this and men that, and he did this to me, and okay. He did, more than likely he did, but what part did you play in the whole thing too?
Yes. And moving into talking more about the book, I know that you're not able to really give us everything, but could you just give us a short snippet of what we can expect?
Okay. Diary of a Hopeful Romantic is a book. It's technically a nonfiction, but I fictionalized it to hide the identities of people. So it's 16 stories from different perspectives. There's most of them are from women perspective, but there are some stories from the male perspective. But there's 16 stories that goes through the ups and the downs of dating and relationship. And most of the relationships are in South Florida. So it's basically the dating scene in South Florida.
Okay.
Um, it's emotionally gripping, emotionally engaging, drama, a little suspense, a little erotica, like, but overall, you're gonna laugh. And people are like, what? You know, suspense, drama, and you're gonna laugh. It's an extension of my personality. So I love to laugh. That's one of the things I love to do. So even when I'm telling you my story of pain and hurt, you're gonna laugh in a little bit, you know, you're gonna still laugh through it. Like, child, this is what he did. You know, so that's what the book is. So like when people read it, they was like, surprisingly, I'm laughing. Like that's my personality.
Wow.
I laugh at my own pain. I'll tell you my story, but you're gonna end up laughing when I'm telling you it, even though I've been through some things.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. I'm sure it's gonna do great, because people want to know the real, like they want to know the real deal.
Yeah.
They, we live in this world. People love the tea.
And
They,
it is the tea.
they,
The tea. And you know, sometimes people tell stories and they only tell the bad part of what that person did. I put bad parts that I did. You know, it's owning your truth and it's also being accountable of your actions. Like, you know, what did you do? You know,
right. So what
it's very authentic.
being authentic is where it's at. What type of
Right.
challenge though did you face any challenges when you was writing, this project? Because sometimes we go through those things like when writing, we know it might be somebody else's story or some of our story, and then you have to, it might hit an area that you're like, oh, am I really sharing this? So did you face any challenges whenever you was creating this project?
Yes, there were some challenges because sometimes, okay, when you go through a relationship and you know you're gonna tell this whole story to the whole world or to whoever reads the book. So you're wondering like, how deep do I go? How vivid do I go? How much details do I go into? So yeah, that part was challenging. The biggest challenge was just starting. It took me like 6 months to just finally just start writing.
Wow.
So,
So
because
why
when I
did it take
finally,
you so long? Why did it take you so long to start?
I came up with the idea and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and write this book that people kept telling me to write. And this, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
And I did the outline and I designed it in my head and put it on paper how I wanted it. But like writing the stories, it just took so long. So finally, I just got going and
Wow.
started writing. But there is one particular story, and my mom was like, change that. Like, so it was one story that I changed a little bit of the details because she felt like it was too raw. So
Wow.
I respected my mama's wishes on that one.
Oh, wow. I love it.
She did it out of protection. She was just like, I know you open and honest, but I don't want the backlash for that particular detail. So I was like, okay, no problem.
God,
I'll change that one detail.
I respect that. I respect that.
Right.
you know,
But
there's so much, that you want to share and then you don't. Sometimes we want to share things and we don't realize like it might impact our families or,
right.
friends.
Mm.
Uh, you know, it's crazy. It's almost like the movie, I can't think of it, but it had you know, Lawrence Tate and all of them in there, and then Tay Diggs, and then remember he used the characters which was his friends, and they were like, "You wrote about us." It's almost like that. Like,
Right.
wait a minute, we
Right. Well, at least all of my characters, the ones that are not about me.
Right.
I got their permission.
Great. Best man. Exactly, Petty Professor. Thank you. I was thinking it made me sort of feel like, oh, is it one of those scenarios? But she was like, no, don't do it. I don't want to take the backlash. I understand. Mama
Mama was like,
is right.
they might come after my baby, and I'm not gonna feel that. I'm not gonna be happy.
Okay. They were like, why'd your daughter do that?
Right. So I was like, okay, I'll change that little snippet. I'll change that.
Yeah, so when people see you, they're like looking at you like,
Right, right. Like I already know. Like there's enough details to get the side eye. So I just left that one out.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
when I give it to my family, it's different when you give it to friends and strangers. But when I give it to family, it's like, okay, don't judge me.
Right. I love it. I love it. So do you see yourself, doing more projects? Because I feel like this, if you could share 16 stories.
They're not all mine.
Right.
To be transparent. Yeah.
Of course, but if you're able to do that and do projects like this, I feel like, of course, you still have room to do even more. So do you see yourself, continuing to create projects like this in the future?
Yes, I have already started brainstorming and thinking about my sequel. Like a lot of people was like, I'm ready for more. So I'm like, you know what? I got a few more stories in the chamber that I can kind of release. So I thought about merch. I thought about public speaking.
Yeah.
Another transparency moment. I'm somewhat an introvert. I came out of my shell in middle school, kind of because of my petty professor best friend. So I came out of my shell a little bit, but I'm like an introvert / extrovert. But I prefer to be behind the scenes rather than in front of the scenes.
Okay.
So once I get going and I'm comfortable with it, then it flows naturally. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can do this public speaking thing. So that might be another venture aside from another book and maybe merchandise. So yes, those are the projects I'm thinking about.
I love it. I love it. I know we're in a new year, and I even had that problem. Like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I like to be behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2022, we definitely have to step up, right? We got to do this. I think
that is the truth.
Do this. It's like, no, it's not no workarounds. You got to be a face, So
funny story. My marketing branding expert, she was like, okay, when we had our first consultation, I had makeup on, I was looking all pretty, and she was like, okay, see this? I need you to look like this all the time. And I was like, what? Be camera ready, always on video, go live. And I hate it, but I have to just push myself out of my comfort zone and do the things that I hate if I want to be where I want to be.
Okay. And then it's not too bad sometimes when people see you without your makeup on or without, because like you said, you're building an audience and you want them to be able to relate. So she can look good, or she can just look like she got up and just did something to her hair without no makeup. People need to see that, they can relate.
Right. I just did a TikTok this weekend without makeup. I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm being more authentic when I show all sides of me and not just this pretty side. That's this new world, this new generation. You always look glamorous.
Right. Knowing good and well you do not go to sleep or wake up like that.
My first videos was in my car. I was like, listen, y'all, I don't have a background yet. Like, this is my background.
Okay. It's however you're going to get this content regardless.
I act like it's the background,
Get this content, ignore me if I'm driving. You just only here to listen, right?
Right.
I love it. And that's a part of, evolving as well as coming out of your shell. And just be, like I said, to be able to create a project like this, and doing live interviews, just things like that. That's a part of all coming out of your shell. So thank you so much. Before we go though, please tell us how we could, keep up with you, purchase the book, and, just support you in any way that we can.
Okay, my book can be purchased on www.misshopefulromantic.com, also on Amazon, Audible, and my IG is Miss Hopeful Romantic. My Facebook is Miss Hopeful Romantic. I also have my other Facebook, Sanetta Guyton, but that's not as professional.
Right.
So IG, TikTok, Miss Hopeful Romantic.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. So you heard it first.
It's an audio book, so if you want to listen to it, because I know everyone's busy, I prefer audiobooks myself, so it's also on Audible.
Awesome. I love it. I have to like get better with audibles. I seen like one of my coaches on Audible,
I,
and I was like, you know what? I need to do this because I like to read. I like to read. But sometimes we are busy. Like it'd be okay to hear a book whenever you're washing the dishes or cleaning up, So I
right.
tap into it. I'm gonna tap into it this year.
Took me a minute because my sister was listening to her audio book, and I was just like, "You listen to this corny mess?" Like, and then when I finally tried it myself, I was hooked. That's almost the only way I can like finish a book in a decent amount of time.
Right.
I'll listen while I'm in traffic or driving. I'll sometimes listen in the shower, or if I'm at work, I'll listen sometimes. So I love that I can be busy and still listen and still actually hear the message in the story.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. But thank you for sharing that. And also thank you for being on tonight and taking out the time. I know it's a holiday, most people are just chilling, get ready if they have to go back to work tomorrow. So thank you. Guys, thank you for jumping on tonight. Make sure that you follow Ms. Hopeful Romantic. Stay tuned on what we're gonna do. So thank you. Shout out to Dr. Little for this opportunity. Because we are in partnership with Little Publishing. So thank you. You guys have a good night and take care, okay?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Get the book, Diary of a Hopeful Romantic.
The book. Okay. Bye.
All right.